Now, talk to me about Moraes. I know this is a guy who everyone says they're going to beat you, and he's going to be a step ahead of you, and you just every single time for a decade plus now go in there and you just win. What's your response when you hear a guy say, "I'm going to be faster than you, I'm going to be stronger than you"? What's the response, Demetrious?
I doubt that I met anybody in my life that's faster than me in mixed martial arts. I haven't met one person yet. I would say the most person who just came close to, being as fast as me is probably Matt, because his footwork and technique is so good. But, it's another fight, and, he believes that he's faster, stronger. But, we get a chance to go in there and fight in the cage and see, who's faster or stronger. Well, you can even lose a fight and not even figure out if you were faster or stronger. But we're going to see what happens.
What goes through your mind when you hear people trash talk you now, just because you've done this for so long and you are undoubtedly one of the greatest ever? Do you say like, "Oh, that guy lacks confidence," or "He's trying to pump himself up"? Like, what's the reaction? What do you make of when people talk crap to you?
Nothing at all. No reaction whatsoever. I take it in and I digest it, and I just, go about my day. I never let anybody get into my head. I think the one person that ever irked me or irritated me was just John Dotson. But other than that, there hasn't been another athlete that ever did it.
Yeah, you seem like you always stay within yourself and you never get like angry and get sloppy. It just doesn't seem like that ever happens to you.
Yeah, I mean, there was for a very, very, very long time.
What's the message to your fans out there who have missed watching you? Now it's really easy. They don't have to work to watch you now. They put on TNT. You are going to be on April 7th over here in the U.S. What do you say to people? What's the message? Why should they tune in?
Yeah, tune in. You're going to see an amazing fight between me and Adriano Moraes. You also got Yuri Lapkus taking on Eddie Alvarez. Then you also got Rod Tane making his, U.S. broadcast debut. And for the folks out there, don't get it twisted. You have to watch the fight live on TNT. They have a TNT app. Otherwise, you have DirecTV or Dish, and you watch it at 7 p.m. because you get the East Coast feed. And tune in and enjoy the fight.
Everyone always wants to talk about this GOAT conversation and who's the greatest ever. And, and there's been a lot of talk about Khabib lately, obviously, with him just stepping away. Where do you feel like and I know you're a humble guy, but where do you feel like you stand in that whole conversation, Demetrious?
I think it's for the community to decide. I always tell my wife and kids, like, when my time is done, I will let, they're like, "Daddy, how good were you?" I'm like, "I was one of the greatest to ever do it." But there's so many great athletes in mixed martial arts. You have Jon Jones, Habib Nurmagomedov, GSP. I mean, you got Matt Hughes, Chuck Liddell. I mean, if you look at the era, my era with, me, Habib, Jon Jones, Izzy is, when Izzy starts going, Izzy's still young, I think. So I feel like in my era, I always say like I'm one of the greatest to ever do it in my era. But to say I'm the greatest of all time, that's me not putting respect on other guys, other gentlemen's names who came before me and in this era. But when it comes to the flyweights, I would say I'm probably one of the greatest flyweights to ever do it.
Yeah, it just feels like an impossible question. It just feels like an unanswerable question too. You're fighting different people, different sizes. I mean, how do you even like quantify who's the best? It just seems impossible.
Exactly. I mean, and when you look at everybody has their own kind of like resume on their pound for pound list. Like for me, I think it's more about like the person's skill set. Can they do it all? Who have they fought? Have they fought on both sides of the world? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that comes down to it. But when you look at, Jon Jones, I think he's one of the greatest of all times, probably the GOAT, because each time I've seen a fight, I feel like he plays with his opponents, right? I feel he's very dynamic as a light heavyweight. He will be very dynamic as a heavyweight, as long as he keeps his speed, which I don't foresee him losing his speed. And I just don't see anybody beat him anytime soon because the gifts that he's been given being so long. And he's very intelligent as well. Yeah. And so for me, but then there's a part of me who was like, well, he's never fought in Asia. He's never fought in Japan, or he's never fought. But I'm like, there's probably nobody over here in Asia who can push him. I have no idea.
Right.
So I always have that in the back of my mind, like, what is the stipulation? That's why I say I leave it to the community, because everybody has their own list of who's the greatest of all time.